the Kingdom Experience.
Hi everybody, this is Marla Woodmancy from the Kingdom Experience, and I am proclaiming that this is going to be a mountain-moving year on your life. In Matthew 19:26, Jesus said, "With man it is impossible, but with God all things are possible." Jesus is the person we look to as our authority, and he spoke of a woman that he thought had what took faith to move her mountain. This woman is mentioned in the Gospels. Actually, she's mentioned in 3 Gospels. She's mentioned in Matthew chapter 9, in Mark chapter 5, and Luke chapter 8. And she's called the woman with the issue of bleeding. And this woman walks up, and the disciples and all these people are pressing Jesus. And she reaches out to his cloak and touches it, believing that if she touched Jesus' cloak, and she believed that Jesus had the power to heal her, she believed if she did that and reached out to him, that he would heal her. She had faith to believe that. And because she did that, he felt power leave him. And he actually stopped and he said to the disciples, he said, "Who was that just touched me?" And the disciples are like, what? Like, there's all these people around us. We're not sure who touched you. And he knew in his heart when he turned and he saw the woman, he knew that that woman with the issue of blood was the woman who had touched him. And he said to her, he said, "Who touched my cloak?" And the woman before him, trembling with fear, bowed before him and let him know that it was her. He already knew that. But he said, "Daughter, your faith has healed you. Go in peace and be freed from your suffering." You see, Jesus didn't say, "I heard your prayer and I see you and that makes you well." Jesus said, "Your faith made you well." I had a professor in seminary that would say this often. He would say, "You have not because you ask not." And that was like a word that just penetrated my heart, because we have not sometimes because we ask not. What is it you want to ask for in this year? What mountain do you want to see moved in this year? Because I believe if you put your faith in God and you trust in him, you can see those impossibilities become your possibility. I know this firsthand because many years ago, it's been probably about 19 years ago now, I was diagnosed with a brain tumor. And when you're diagnosed with a brain tumor and you have the possibility of facing death, I was a single mom at the time with 2 children, and the idea of me possibly going under a knife, possibly facing all the things that happens when you have a brain tumor, which could lead to death, I believed this scripture to be true. I believed 19 verse 26 was true, that with man it's impossible, possibly. I mean, yes, with doctors and the things we have available to us today, which is a wonderful thing. I'm married to a doctor. So doctors are a wonderful thing that God has given us. But my faith is in God. God can lead us to a variety of ways to be healed. But I believed in my heart, like the woman did, that if I reached out and touched Jesus' cloak, that he could heal me. Now, I don't discredit going to the hospital, going to doctors, because they are a wonderful thing and they're a wonderful blessing. But something inside of me said, I can reach out to Jesus and he can heal me. And to make a long story short, I was healed of a brain tumor supernaturally. I believe that you can see mountains move with mountain-moving faith. And you see it all throughout scriptures. I mean, think about Noah in the Old Testament. Noah had mountain-moving faith. He believed that what God told him was true. He built the ark, and we know the story. Noah's ark went through the flood, and Noah's name carries on today, and all of his family, because of his mountain-moving faith. And you can read about Noah in the New Testament in Hebrews chapter 11. It has a list of those faith people from the Old Testament. Think about Abraham. He had mountain-moving faith when God told him to leave his city and go to a place of unknown. He believed and trusted God and had mountain-moving faith and did it. And then you see other people throughout the Old Testament. Joseph, you see Elijah. I mean, the list can go on and on. The prophet Isaiah. All these people had mountain-moving faith. They put their trust in God. They believed that God could do something impossible, because with man it's impossible, but with God all things are possible. In Mark chapter 11, verses 22 through 24, Jesus says, "Have faith in God. I tell you the truth, if anyone says to this mountain, 'Go throw yourself into the sea,' and does not doubt in his heart, but believes that what he says will happen, it will be done for him. Therefore, I tell you, whatever you ask for in prayer, believe that you have received, and it will be yours." What is it you want to ask for? Remember, like I said, you have not because you ask not. What if you asked for that incredible thing that you think is impossible to happen? What if you asked and believed and trusted God and prayed about it and reached out and touched Jesus and saw the impossibility become your possibility? See, that's why why he looked over and he said, your faith has done it. So I want to encourage you, make this a mountain-moving year with mountain-moving faith. Remember, Caleb and Joshua went into the promised land. Only 2 out of 12 spies believed that they could take the land where the giants were. Only 2 believed out of the 12. Think about that. Will you be one of the 2? Because Joshua and Caleb are the ones that said, you know what, this seems impossible for us to take the land with giants there. And all the other 10 had all these excuses. Well, you know what? You have 2 choices, to believe or not believe. Do you want to live in excuses, or say, you know what, now I'm not going to live with those excuses. I'm going to believe what seems impossible to become my possibility, and then step out in faith and believe and trust God and see miracles happen in your life. I just want to encourage you again, ask and trust God. Make this your mountain-moving year with mountain-moving faith.
The kingdom.